The Maya civilization was one of the most advanced cultures of the ancient Americas. For many centuries, the Maya people built incredible cities in the jungles of what is now Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. They were experts in many things. They developed a complex writing system using hieroglyphs. They created a very accurate calendar by studying the stars and planets. They were also amazing architects and engineers. They built towering pyramids, grand palaces, and large public plazas. These cities were centers of government, religion, and trade for millions of people. The Maya world was not one single empire, but a collection of powerful city-states that often competed with each other for resources and influence. Deep in the heart of the Maya mountains of western Belize lies the ancient city of Caracol. For a long time, its importance was not fully understood. It was once thought to be a smaller, less significant site. However, decades of careful archaeological work have shown a very different story. Caracol was a huge city, a true metropolis of its time. At its peak, around the year 650 AD, it was larger than the famous city of Tikal, its great rival. Caracol covered a vast area, with thousands of buildings connected by an extensive system of roads, or sakbiob. It supported a large population, possibly more than 100,000 people, making it one of the most populated cities in the ancient Maya world. The history of Caracol is a story of ambition and power. It began as a smaller settlement, but grew into a major political force. Its rulers were skilled warriors and diplomats. They formed alliances and fought wars to expand their territory and control important trade routes. One of the most famous events in Caracol's history was its military victory over Tikal in 562 AD. This event changed the balance of power in the Maya lowlands for over a century. Understanding Caracol is essential to understanding the complex political landscape of the classic Maya period. It shows us that Maya history was dynamic, with cities rising and falling in power over time. Our work at the Caracol Archaeological Project has been dedicated to uncovering the secrets of this great city for many years. We use modern science and careful excavation to piece together the lives of its people. We study their homes, their temples, and their tombs. Each discovery, big or small, adds another piece to the puzzle. It helps us understand how the people of Caracol lived, what they believed, and how their city became so powerful. The story of Caracol is still being written, and recent discoveries continue to change our understanding of the Maya past. It is a place of wonder and constant learning, hidden beneath the canopy of the Belizean jungle. The exploration of Caracol is not a new endeavor. It is a long and patient journey that has spanned many decades. The Caracol Archaeological Project, a joint effort between the University of Houston and the Belize Institute of Archaeology, has been working at the site since the 1980s. Our mission has always been to carefully map, excavate, and preserve this immense ancient city. The work is challenging. The jungle is thick and the climate is demanding. The structures are often covered by dense vegetation and soil that has accumulated over more than 1,000 years. But the rewards of this hard work are immeasurable, revealing the story of a lost world. Our approach combines traditional archaeological methods with modern technology. We use shovels and trowels to carefully remove layers of earth, just as archaeologists have done for generations. But we also use advanced tools like LiDAR, which is a laser scanning technology. LiDAR allows us to see through the jungle canopy and create detailed maps of the entire city, revealing hidden buildings and roads we never knew existed. This has shown us that Caracol is much larger than anyone ever imagined. We also use techniques from chemistry and biology to analyze artifacts and human remains, giving us insights into diet, health, and trade patterns of the ancient inhabitants. Over the years, the project has made many important discoveries. We have uncovered magnificent stucco friezes on the sides of temples, telling stories of gods and rulers. We have found numerous tombs of nobles and royalty filled with beautiful pottery, jade jewelry, and other precious items. We have mapped thousands of agricultural terraces that fed the city's massive population. Each of these finds has helped us build a more complete picture of life at Caracol. We have learned about their social structure, their religious rituals, their farming techniques, and their military strategies. It is a slow process of connecting thousands of small details. This long-term commitment is crucial for understanding a site as complex as Caracol. A single excavation season can only reveal a small part of the story. It is through years of continuous research that we can see the bigger patterns. We can trace the growth of the city from its early beginnings to its height of power and its eventual decline. This long-term perspective allows us to ask deeper questions and to test our ideas against new evidence. The project is a living history, with each new season bringing the potential for a discovery that could rewrite what we know about the Maya. The most recent discovery at Caracol is one of the most exciting in the project's history. It happened in the heart of the city, within the main Acropolis. The Acropolis is a large raised complex of palaces and temples that served as the royal and administrative center of Caracol. It was the home of the city's kings and the seat of their power. We were conducting excavations deep beneath the floor of one of the most prominent structures in this area. Our team was carefully working its way down through layers of construction that had been built one on top of the other over many centuries. This is a common practice in Maya cities, as new rulers often built their temples directly on top of those of their predecessors. As we dug deeper, we noticed a change in the construction. We found a specially built chamber, sealed with large stone slabs and mortar. This was a clear sign that we had found something important, something that was meant to be protected and hidden from view. The careful sealing of the chamber indicated that it was likely a tomb, and its location in the royal Acropolis suggested it belonged to a person of very high status. The excitement among the team was incredible. Finding an undisturbed tomb is rare and offers a unique window into the past. We proceeded with extreme caution, documenting every step of the process. Inside the chamber, we found the remains of a single individual. The skeleton was laid out in a formal burial position, surrounded by a collection of remarkable artifacts. These were not everyday items. They were objects of great value and symbolic meaning, fit for a king. The air in the tomb was still, and it felt as though we were the first people to see this scene in over 1500 years. The preservation of the contents was extraordinary. This was a moment frozen in time, a direct connection to the earliest days of Caracol's royal dynasty. We knew immediately that this was a discovery of major significance for the site and for Maya archaeology as a whole. The tomb itself was a testament to the importance of the person buried within. The construction was elaborate, requiring a huge amount of labor and resources. This was not a simple grave. It was a carefully planned and executed royal interment. The location, deep within the city's core and below later powerful pyramids, suggested that this individual was a foundational figure. Later kings literally built their power upon the legacy of this ruler. The discovery of this tomb provided a physical link to the very beginnings of Caracol's journey to becoming a superpower in the Maya world, a journey that we were now able to explore in a much more personal and direct way. Identifying the person in the tomb was our next critical task. A skeleton alone can tell us about age and health, but it cannot give us a name. For that, we needed to look at the hieroglyphic inscriptions. The Maya were one of the few ancient cultures in the Americas with a fully developed writing system. They carved historical records on stone monuments known as stelae and painted them on pottery. Fortunately, the tomb contained clues. Several of the ceramic vessels placed as offerings were decorated with hieroglyphs. Our team of epigraphers, who are experts in reading Maya writing, began the careful work of deciphering these ancient texts. The key piece of evidence came from a beautifully painted bowl. The glyphs on the bowl named a specific ruler, Was Te K'ab Chaak. This name was already known to us from other inscriptions found at Caracol. Historical records on later monuments mentioned him as the founder of the city's great royal dynasty. He was the first king, the one who established Caracol as a political power around the year 331 AD. The texts in the tomb confirmed his identity and linked him directly to this burial chamber. For the first time, we could put a name to the remains of a founding ruler at Caracol. This was a breakthrough moment that connected a specific person to a specific place in the archaeological record. The dating of the tomb also matched the historical records perfectly. We used radiocarbon dating on organic materials found inside the chamber, such as wood fragments and bone collagen. The scientific results placed the burial firmly in the 4th century AD. This aligns exactly with the time period when Was Te K'ab Chaak was said to have reigned. The combination of hieroglyphic evidence from the pottery and the scientific dating provided a solid case. We were confident that we had found the final resting place of Caracol's first great king. It was a remarkable convergence of history and science. This identification is incredibly important. While we have found many royal tombs in the Maya world, it is very rare to find the tomb of a city's founding ruler. Often, these early tombs are destroyed by later construction or are simply too deep to find. The story of Te K'ab Chaak was known from texts written hundreds of years after his death. He was a legendary figure. But now, he was no longer just a name on a stone monument. We had found him. This discovery makes him a real, tangible person. It grounds the historical narrative of Caracol in physical evidence, allowing us to study the life and death of the man who started it all. The discovery of Te K'ab Chaak's tomb is significant for many reasons. First and foremost, it provides a crucial anchor point for the history of Caracol. Archaeologists and historians often rely on timelines built from texts and pottery styles. Finding the tomb of a known named founder solidifies this timeline in a very powerful way. It confirms the historical accounts written by later Maya scribes. It shows that their records of the city's origins were accurate. This gives us more confidence in using these written sources to understand other aspects of Maya history. It's like, well, finding the first chapter of a book you only had later parts of. Furthermore, this discovery changes our understanding of early Maya kingship. The tomb of Te K'ab Chaak is not simple or modest. It is a grand and wealthy burial. This tells us that from its very beginning, the dynasty of Caracol was powerful and had access to significant resources. The ruler was buried with symbols of divine authority and connections to faraway places. This suggests that even in the 4th century AD, Caracol was not an isolated village. It was already a player on a larger political and economic stage. The founder was not just a local chief, he was a king with regional influence, setting the stage for Caracol's future greatness. The tomb also offers a unique opportunity to study the beliefs and rituals associated with the death of a founding king. The types of objects placed in the tomb, their arrangement, and the construction of the chamber itself are all filled with symbolic meaning. These details reveal what the early Maya of Caracol believed about the afterlife and the role of the king after his death. They believed the king would journey through the underworld and be reborn as a god. The tomb was his vessel for this transformation. By studying these early rituals, we can trace how religious beliefs evolved over the hundreds of years that Caracol was inhabited. Finally, linking a specific ruler to his physical remains opens up new avenues for scientific research. We can now study the biology of a known Maya king from the 4th century. DNA analysis, though challenging with ancient remains, could reveal information about his genetic lineage and connections to other royal families. Isotopic analysis of his bones and teeth can tell us about his diet and where he grew up. Was he local to Caracol, or did he come from somewhere else to establish the dynasty? These scientific studies can answer questions that hieroglyphic texts alone cannot, giving us a more personal and detailed biography of this foundational figure in Maya history. Among the many incredible artifacts found in the tomb of Te K'ab Chaak, one object stands out for its beauty and importance: a magnificent jade mask. The mask was not found on the king's face but was placed near his head as a sacred offering. It is made of dozens of carefully carved and polished pieces of vibrant green jade, fitted together like a mosaic. Jade was the most precious material in the ancient Maya world. It was more valuable than gold. Its green color was associated with water, fertility, and life itself. It was a symbol of royal power and divine essence. Only the most powerful rulers could command such a masterpiece. The craftsmanship of the mask is breathtaking. Each piece of jade was precisely cut to fit with the others, forming the serene and powerful face of a Maya lord or deity. The eyes are inlaid with shell and obsidian, giving the face a lifelike quality. A mask like this was not just a beautiful object, it was a powerful ritual item. In Maya belief, such masks helped the deceased king transform into a divine being in the afterlife. It was a tool for his spiritual journey, ensuring his successful rebirth and continued influence over his people from the other side. The presence of this jade mask in the tomb is a clear statement of Te K'ab Chaak's immense status and the resources he controlled. The source of the jade is also very important. There are no sources of jade in the area around Caracol. The nearest sources are located far away in the Motagua River Valley, in what is now Guatemala. This means that Te K'ab Chaak had to have access to long-distance trade networks to acquire this precious stone. The ability to obtain high-quality jade demonstrates his political and economic power. He was able to command luxury goods from hundreds of kilometers away. This mask is not just art, it is evidence of Caracol's early participation in a wide-reaching network of exchange that connected the entire Maya region. The discovery of this mask in such an early tomb is remarkable. While jade masks have been found in other royal Maya tombs, finding one associated with a founding king from the 4th century is exceptional. It pushes back our understanding of when these complex symbols of power appeared. It shows that the traditions and symbols we associate with the great Maya kings of the classic period were already in place much earlier. The Jade Mask of Te K'ab Chaak is a true treasure, not just for its material value, but for the rich story it tells about early Maya royalty, religion, and the extensive reach of their world. Besides the spectacular Jade Mask, the tomb of Te K'ab Chaak was filled with a rich collection of ceramic vessels. Archaeologists pay close attention to pottery because it can tell us a great deal about a culture. The style, shape, and decoration of pottery change over time, so it helps us date archaeological sites. Pottery can also tell us about trade, daily life, and religious beliefs. The vessels in this tomb were particularly informative. There were over 30 different pots, including beautifully painted bowls, plates, and cylindrical vases. They were placed around the king as offerings, likely once filled with food and drink for his journey into the afterlife. One group of vessels was especially interesting. Several pots were decorated with images of a specific Maya god. This god is shown with a large drooping nose, a black painted body, and often carrying a pack on his back like a merchant. This is the god Ek Chuah, who was the patron deity of merchants, traders, and cacao. Cacao beans were a form of currency in the ancient Maya world used for buying and selling goods. The presence of Ek Chuah on the pottery in the king's tomb is a very strong clue about the importance of trade and commerce to Caracol, even in its earliest days. The imagery of Ek Chuah connects the king, Te K'ab Chaak, directly to the world of trade. It suggests that his power and wealth were not just based on farming or warfare, but also on controlling commercial routes. By placing images of the merchant god in his tomb, his people were celebrating this important aspect of his reign. It was a way of showing that the king was a successful leader who brought prosperity to his city through commerce. This finding challenges the old idea that early Maya kings were only concerned with religion and war. It shows they were also savvy economic leaders. The style of some of the pottery also points to long-distance connections. Some of the vessels show influences from Teotihuacan, a massive and powerful city in central Mexico, located over 1,000 kilometers away. Finding these connections in a 4th century tomb at Caracol is very exciting. It suggests that from its very foundation, Caracol was part of an international network of trade that linked Mesoamerica together. The pottery therefore acts as a map of the ancient world, showing us the roads of commerce that Te K'ab Chaak and his city were connected to. These humble clay pots tell a grand story of economic power and international relations. The artifacts from Te K'ab Chaak's tomb, especially the jade from Guatemala and the pottery with trade-related imagery, reinforce a new understanding of Caracol. For a long time, scholars focused on the military might of Caracol, particularly its famous victory over Tikal. While warfare was certainly important, this discovery highlights that the city's success was also built on a strong economic foundation. Caracol was not just a fortress, it was a bustling commercial hub. Its strategic location in the foothills of the Maya Mountains gave it control over important resources and trade routes that connected the coastal lowlands with the resource-rich highlands. Caracol likely controlled the flow of valuable goods. From the mountains, they could access granite for grinding stones, slate for monuments, and important forest products. From the coast, they could import salt, dried fish, and seashells. The discovery of the tomb shows that this trade network was established very early in the city's history. The wealth generated from this trade would have funded the city's massive construction projects, supported its large population, and equipped its powerful army. Economic strength and military power went hand in hand. A strong economy allowed Caracol to challenge and eventually defeat its larger rival, Tikal. The extensive road system at Caracol is further evidence of its commercial importance. The city is crisscrossed by a network of raised causeways, or sakbob. These roads connected the city center to outlying residential and agricultural areas, but they also likely served as major arteries for trade. They would have allowed merchants and farmers to easily bring their goods to the central market. This impressive infrastructure shows a high level of urban planning focused on integration and movement, which is essential for a large commercial center. The city was designed to facilitate the flow of people and products, making it an efficient and prosperous place. Therefore, the discovery of Te K'ab Chaak's tomb helps us see Caracol in a new light. It was a more complex and balanced power than previously thought. Its rulers were not just warriors, they were also economic strategists who understood the importance of commerce. This shifts our perspective on the dynamics of the Maya world. The competition between city-states like Caracol and Tikal was not just about territory and tribute, it was also a struggle for control over lucrative trade routes and economic resources. Caracol's rise was fueled as much by the merchant's pack as by the warrior's spear, a story that began with its very first king. The unearthing of Te K'ab Chaak's tomb at Caracol is more than just another exciting archaeological find. It is a key that unlocks a deeper understanding of the ancient Maya. By linking a founding ruler to his physical tomb for the first time at this site, we have moved from legend to history. Te K'ab Chaak is no longer just a name in a text. He is a person whose life and death we can now study directly. This discovery breathes life into the distant past, making it more immediate and real. It confirms the historical accuracy of Maya records and provides a solid foundation upon which we can build a more detailed story of Caracol's rise to power. This find fundamentally changes our view of early Maya cities. It demonstrates that even in the 4th century AD, cities like Caracol were complex societies with far-reaching connections. The wealth and sophistication of the tomb show that the foundations of the great classic Maya civilization were laid much earlier and were more robust than previously understood. The emphasis on trade goods, like jade, and commercially themed pottery highlights the crucial role that economics played alongside politics and religion in the formation of these powerful city-states. It reminds us that ancient societies were driven by many of the same forces that shape our world today. The work at Caracol is far from over. This discovery opens up many new questions and directions for research. There are still vast areas of the city that remain unexcavated, hidden beneath the jungle floor. Each new structure we explore could hold another tomb, another inscription, or another collection of artifacts that could further revolutionize our knowledge. The application of new scientific techniques to the materials from Te K'ab Chaak's tomb will continue to yield new insights for years to come. The story of Caracol is still unfolding, and the potential for future discoveries is immense. Ultimately, the tomb of Te K'ab Chaak is a powerful reminder of why we study the past. It teaches us about the ingenuity, complexity, and humanity of ancient cultures. It shows us that history is not static. It is a living field of inquiry that is constantly being updated and rewritten by new evidence. Discoveries like this connect us to people who lived thousands of years ago, allowing us to learn from their achievements and their stories. As we continue to unveil the secrets of Caracol, we are not just learning about the Maya, we are learning more about the shared human journey across time.